and welcome back to the channel. We're back on the stradale Spider project today. Now, as a short recap, what I'm trying to create here is the missing link Ferrari should have built to go alongside the 16M, the Aperta, and currently the piece, the Spider. Now, we are going to painstaking lengths to create this car as if it was built at factory. Now, these kind of projects, they all are little jobs that come together at the end to create the masterpiece. Now today I'm going to show you some of those little jobs that take a long time, and they're tiny little things sometimes, but they're so worth it at the end of the day. Okay, I've pulled over to film this legally. Now here are the differences. So yellow tack, most people know about that. Next level people go to sometimes is change the other dials here because the font is slightly different. Most people know that down here it says race instead of sport for the cars. The final one that people don't know about is this. This is your F1 gear select display, and as you can see, it's red on the stradale. All the other cars, it's actually orange. Now, we've had all this apart. We've made the hybrid dash for the stradale Spider to incorporate all the roof functions in the dash. Today we're going to strip it all apart again, and we're going to see if we can fix this and change the orange to red. Now remember, this is a £15,000 part, so if we get this wrong, we're in deep poo-poo. So if we look here, the display is orange and it needs to be red, so we need to rectify that. So once again, we've got both the CS dash and the Spider dash all stripped apart. Now, our little troublesome LEDs are these ones here for the F1 display, and we need to change them from orange to red, and they're relatively cheap, but we need to make sure we get the right one. So what I'm doing here is I'm just measuring them to make sure, first of all, we get the right size, and then we're going to order some up and see if we can change them. So I've been online and ordered up some red LEDs. They've just arrived in the post. We had to order up 25 of them, was the minimum order, but they are relatively cheap in comparison to potentially £15,000 worth of dash if we wreck this one. Anyway, I know my limitations and I am not going to risk soldering those onto a circuit board myself. I'm going to sub this one out. Not the kind of job most people want to do, especially on a Ferrari dash, but I have a local guy who is willing to try and do the job. I'm going to come back later and I'll let you know if we're successful. Keep those fingers crossed. So in the last video you saw the colour transformation from Rosso Corsa to Rosso Scuderia on the car, complete with factory racing stripe. We then bolted on a few of the bodywork bits and it really started to transform the car. Now I've spent a few days doing some of the boring jobs, the panel gaps, some of the rubber trim pieces. Today we're going to continue to really push this project forward to its end goal. Let's get on with it and let's do some of the exciting stuff. So we're starting to put the car all back together. We've got the carbon door panels on. How good do they look? Also the carbon mirror there. We've got to do the other side now. Now there's no expense spared on this build. As you can see, we've got all the new vapor barriers to go on the doors. I'm going to fit that one on this side, and then just the last bit is the carbon panel. We've made a few little adjustments to make sure everything fits, and it's really starting to look good now. Just to show you, this is what it looked like before. Obviously we had a black door card, but this Spider, very just a normal looking door card. Carbon fiber just looks so good on this car. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to work a little bit of magic here. No vapor barrier. So that's the vapor barrier. Next it's time for the carbon fiber door trim. That's all in place. How good does that look? Final touch is the door handle. So we made a lot of modifications to all the door opening to make this work as a stradale, and now this is the finishing touch. Test it, shall we? And there you go, all that work was totally worth it. Look how stunning that is. A massive difference to the standard car, with the door card, with the carbon mirror as well, the kick plate, everything. All these final little touches added together, transform this car. Now these Ferrari builds can be pretty stressful at times, working with very expensive cars on parts that are super expensive and often unavailable. If only it was so simple to protect my Ferrari builds as it is to protect my data with Surfshark. But Surfshark not only protects all of my family's devices, keeping everything secure and free from eavesdropping, it also helps me when I'm a little bit stressed and need to take a break from these builds. Seen it, seen it, seen it. If you're bored of your Netflix choices, fear not, Surfshark can save the day with a simple click. I just switch my VPN to another country, a quick refresh of the browser, and bingo, I've just opened up a whole host of new viewing options. But the good news does not stop there. Use my link in the description below the video and you're going to save 83% off plus 3 months extra free. That's less than £2 a month. Plus there's a money back guarantee. Now I've got to say a massive thanks to Surfshark for continuing to support the channel and sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the Challenge Stradale Spider. As with any project of this nature, you're going to have setbacks. We've had a few on this one, water pumps, water leaks, all kinds of things. Head scratching moments. Now next one is to do with these. This is all part of the roof mech that opens and shut and make it look all pretty when the roof is down. Now I'm going to demonstrate on the other car we've got here, the other 360 Spider, exactly what happens when this is all working. Right, let me demonstrate the complexity of just this one flap here. There's a few sensors underneath it and it all needs to line up and go in the right sequence or you're going to have a failure. So what happens is when the flap comes up, if the sensors are not triggered correctly or if it's slightly out of alignment, it will crash with this. And that's exactly what's happened on this car. As you can see here, at some point this has collided with part of the roof mech. Okay, so let me explain on our car what exactly has happened here. So this is the other side flap from our failed one, which I've removed the pins on, but as you can see here, it all pivots, but we have 3 mounting points and they are very weak points on the design. Now this is by Ferrari, which is strange because it's got a GM stamp on it, but it's a molded bit of, I think it's plastic or fiberglass, but it's extremely weak, and over time this is a common issue that will fail on 360s and 430s. So what happened with ours is one of these was very slightly, had a hairline crack in it, nothing at all that I would normally be concerned about, but on the build what we did was put a bit of 2-pack glue on it and I thought that would be absolutely fine. It had probably been like it for a while. Anyway, when we cycled the roof, basically it failed and part of the mech then crashed into the flap, damaging the flap. Now we could have repaired it, however what we've done here is a much better solution. Like I say, this is a weak point and it will fail on many 360 and 430 Spiders over time, and it has done previously on a lot already, but we have come up with a much better solution. This is by my guys at Pro Sport, and as you can hear, it's cast out of metal, so it's never going to fail. And the other great point about this is they are extremely expensive. They're about £500 each plus VAT. Cost that for these two together. Anyway, better solution. It's going to last the life of the car and it's a cheaper solution. Job done. Now we just got to repaint these and put it all back together. So a couple of days ago I dropped the dashboard for the Challenge Stradale Spider build here at the only guy I trust. Let's go in and see how the guys got on. So I've come in, Rory has done all the work on my dashboards. Not a normal kind of thing you do here. It's normally what, phones, tablets, computers, games consoles. There you go. Happy to help. But I needed a man who knew exactly what he was doing with small, tiny components such as that. Was it a tricky job?
Dead easy.
Dead easy?
Dead easy.
That's what I love to hear. Okay, so yeah, it was just a case of the small LEDs, changing those. Any special tools or anything like that you need to use on these kind of things?
Only the standard soldering kit. Not the standard soldering kit you'd have at home, but standard for what we do.
Yeah. And obviously, yeah, the value of that, were you worried about doing it?
I knew what I was doing well enough.
Nice one. Well, he's filmed doing it, so we're going to put it in the video now. Have a look. Board back home. I'm going to go inside now, reassemble the dash cluster, and then we'll take it over to the shop and test it in the Spider to see if it all works. Now I'm going to put a link to the guys who did all the great work on this in the description below the video. Now while we're in my car, there is one other thing that I would like your opinion on, and that's at the back of the car. So let's go out there and I'll explain exactly what I need. And the question is right here on the badge side of things. Now on the Spider, first of all, is it worthy of a challenge stradale badge? Ironic, I'm showing you on this car because it's not a genuine stradale, it's the same thing. It was built with a load of parts. But on the Spider, obviously we have gone absolutely every step possible, changing the engine, the whole suspension system, the lot. So is it worthy of a challenge stradale badge? And the second question is, should we modify it and customize it very slightly to a challenge stradale Spider? Now I've got a little badge. Let's go over to the shop and I'll show you on the actual car what I'm talking about. So this is the badge that came off the 360 Spider glove box, and as you can see this font is slightly smaller, but I think it works quite well. The other option is using a 355 Spider badge where it's the same size, but then it's all about the spacing. So let me know what you think, guys, in the comments below. Should we modify it? Should we just keep it with the original challenge stradale, or do something different? So one of the big jobs on these cars is aligning all the panels, and it's not just a simple case with Ferraris. Half the panels are just so badly made anyway. The gaps are terrible all the time. For example, we're just going to be doing this engine lid here. Not too bad, as you can see. As you come up here, it cuts in a little bit, and then if you look from the back here, look at that, it cuts down. This side, very similar gaps between the other left and right. Again, cuts in a little bit up here, and it doesn't cut in as much here. Still, you know, the gap is a bit bigger. And it's not just this Ferrari, we have another 360 Spider, and here's the other one here, and you can see again slightly bigger gap there. Again, a bit more uniform on this one, bigger gap here, a bit more cuts in again up here. But then you look at, for example, this roof panel here, no gap at all. And look at that, I could almost get my finger in that gap there on this side. So really tricky job. Same on this one, cuts right in up there. So what we're going to try and do, and again if you look here, bows down and then really bows down on this side. So what we try and do is get it as kind of central as possible and as good as possible. But you're probably thinking both those 360s are almost 20 years old and they've had various bits of work done over time, but we've got a 488 Pista outside. That's the latest model, and well, this one's about a year old. Let's have a look at that. Yep, they're just as bad as the 360. Next it's time to check it out, see if we've actually cracked this problem. We're all plugged in, let's check and see if it's worked. Next part of the transformation, front bumper is going on the car. My man Donnie is going to help me do it safely. Get it, buddy. Yep. Cheers, buddy. Well guys, there you go, the Challenge Stradale Spider project is really starting to take shape now. Super exciting. In the background this week I've been working on some very cool little details, some stuff that I'll show you in the next video. They're going to make this car absolutely epic. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, and you can also check out what I get up to on a daily basis over on my social feeds. Till the next one guys, stay safe. Ciao for now.